We sent those questions out to the candidates, and those are the questions that are going to be answered tonight. We, however, are interested in any other questions you might have, and at the end of tonight, if we have time, we'll be able to ask these questions, but we think these are very good questions, and the answers will be very informative about where the candidates stand. So we are going to begin the forum with each candidate getting 2 minutes to introduce themselves to you and to talk about why they're running for office and the initiatives that are important to them and in their campaign. After we get through the introductions, then we are going to take the questions that we sent to the candidates. Each of the groups will have a different question. So group 3 will have a question that they're going to answer, group 2 will have a question that they're going to answer, and then group 1 is going to have a question that they will answer. After that's finished, we have one more question that has to do with the Live Local Act that every candidate will ask them to talk about. So before a candidate speaks, we will ask the question so everybody in the audience knows what the question is, and then we'll proceed from there. The rules are that each answer is limited to 2 minutes, and I'm going to set a timer, and I've got to be, we have to respect the timer because we'll be here all night if we don't. And I know that's not a football game on tonight. People have other
from Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 minutes. When we're all finished, at the end, every candidate will get another minute, okay, individually, just to wrap up and say anything that they feel they wanted to say after listening to everyone else. So those are the rules. The other rule is we expect that everybody is going to be respectful of each other tonight in their answers, and also from the audience. That's very important to us. So with that being said, we'll get things started here. And
I'm so sorry, just a quick question. Were all the candidates invited?
No.
Right.
No.
So because there were so many candidates, we reached out to all the candidates. There was an email problem here, I think, with Ava, but I can't give you any details about how that happened. But yes, we reached out to all the candidates. We asked them to show us the seriousness of their campaign by at least having contributions of $3,000 to be able to participate tonight. And so everybody was advised of this and informed, and that was the rule. Ava didn't get the email, so we're putting that aside.
And how about Luigi? Did he get any response? Luigi?
We did not get a response from him.
So West Avenue is not important for him?
I don't know why we don't get a response. I don't know. So, but we did not get a response. All right, well, why don't we get started? We'll start at the other end of the table, if you don't mind, Alex. Just
Sure.
2 minutes to introduce yourself and talk about what's important for you and your campaign.
Sure. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Fernandez. I'm proud to serve as your Miami Beach City Commissioner in Group 3. So grateful for the trust you placed in me 4 years ago. And I also want to thank all the candidates. I mean, look at this. It's so amazing to have so many candidates running for the Miami Beach City Commission, as well as my own opponent, Luigi, for stepping up to run. West Avenue is a special place for me. Is where 2019 I had my first date with that guy right there, with my partner Robert, over at Oliver's.
That's right.
Almost 19 years ago.
Wow.
And we lived in this neighborhood until we moved to our house in Mid Beach. But this is such a beautiful neighborhood for its pedestrianism, for its people, for its businesses, for the special quality of life that we have here. And that's what we ultimately aim to preserve, making sure that this neighborhood continues to thrive with good quality businesses, making sure that the residents here are able to walk through the streets without, dealing with rushing cars speeding down the roadway like if this were a speedway, making sure that we have the right infrastructure in this neighborhood with bicycle infrastructure that we're placing into West Avenue, making sure that our projects move forward in the speed that they should be moving forward in. That's why one of the pieces of legislation that I've been most proud to sponsor as your city commissioner has been Stop the Pause. Stop the Pause has helped advance many of our critical infrastructure projects like the West Avenue project is part of the reason why we're seeing this project advance through the leadership of my colleagues on the city commission, all of them present here. We've been able to see that project move forward. Not only here, West Avenue, we've seen our infrastructure projects down in south of 5th be able to advance thanks to this unified effort to make sure that not only are we resilient, but that we also stay a financially strong city. We know that our bonding capacity relies in large part in advancing these infrastructure projects. So that's something that we've done as a commission that comes back directly to your quality of life. And among the quality of life improvements that is important to me is making sure that our city is safe, that it's clean, that we're addressing homelessness. I was proud to be one of the sponsors, along with some of my colleagues, on the groundbreaking homeless legislation that we've passed that has lowered homelessness in our city to historic low levels, especially compared.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I could have gone on.
The buzzer like they do at the city commission.
This is my first one this year, and so I gotta get used to timing myself. But thank you guys. Thank you for your attention.
We're gonna start the time.
Well, thank you for being here. My name is Robert Novo. I'm a candidate for Miami Beach Commissioner Group 2. So my father is a Cuban immigrant. He came into Operation Peter Pan. My grandfather escaped the Holocaust and fled from Europe to New York for a better life. The reason why I say this is because I was raised with two principles: dedication and family. And when I first worked here in Miami Beach, I was welcomed to this home, and I was like, this is it. This is my future here. I have a dual bachelor's degree in international relations and public administrations. I have a master's in international business from FIU as well. I recently sold my business. I served as a commission aide here before and as a legislative aide at the state level. I do not have a PAC. I will focus on a clean campaign with issues that impact us every single day. So I'm against overdevelopment. I will prioritize our infrastructure, real support for local businesses, reducing traffic, flooding, affordable housing, transparency, and fiscal responsibility. I feel we have to be a little more serious about our budget. I want to thank you all for being here. I think together we can do amazing things. This is your voice, this is your city, this is our future, and public service, for me, is considered an honor. So especially in this city where there's such huge community engagement between our residents, and that open line of communication is what provides us a better future. Thank you for being here despite the rain, and that's pretty much it. I appreciate it.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Dominguez and I'm Miami Beach Commissioner in Group 2. It's been an honor to be your commissioner for the past 3 years. I got into this particular seat, sadly, when my partner, Mark Samuelin, had passed away, and I ran in a special election. And working on projects that he started and taking them over the finish line has really been quite a joy for me. I had served in the past on my neighborhood association in different committees and was a member of different organizations throughout our city before starting public service. And my big focus has been on resiliency, public safety, and constituent services. On the resiliency side, I've worked closely with the city administration on moving our projects forward. Our infrastructure projects are very important. Back in 2018, a GEO bond was passed, and we need to make sure that we get those projects completed. I'm a neighbor, so I live on Belle Isle and I'm at West Avenue quite often, and seeing everything that you are going through. I've been on walkthroughs with the construction crew, and any adjustments that I can help to make, please always reach out to me. Public safety is another important thing. It's an honor that the mayor appointed me to be chair of Public Safety and Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee. I move forward with a lot of different initiatives regarding public safety, and working with MBPD, which is one of the finest, is also a true pleasure and honor. I did a ride-along recently overnight, way past my bedtime, but it's been great to see what they experience and what items I can bring forward to make it better. And constituent services, I have my fabulous aide here, Julian, and we take and respond to every single email that we receive. We take meetings and we ensure that the quality of life of our residents are met, because your voice is being heard. I represent you, and it's an honor to be your commissioner.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Mateo Salinas. I've lived in Miami Beach for 16 years. I'm originally from Michigan. I grew up in Michigan. Any Midwesterners here? Yeah, Tom. But I moved down here 16 years ago because I don't like being cold. So I'm here now, and I love it here. I have 2 boys. They go to Miami Beach Senior High, go High Tides. And I've been involved in their PTA since they were in elementary school. They went to South Point Elementary, and then they went to Nautilus Middle. And I was a Nautilus Middle School PTSA president. And then now they're at Beach High, and I've done advocacy with Beach High as well. Excuse me, a little bit nervous there. So I went to Michigan State University, and I have a bachelor's degree in social relations and public policy. So I've always considered myself kind of a government nerd. And I've always been fascinated with government and how it works. Where do our tax dollars go? Who gets to decide that? Who gets to decide staffing issues? Any type of budgetary, all of that. I love it. And that's why I'm running. I really want to make Miami Beach better than it's ever been. I appreciate you listening. And real quickly about me too. I also served on the board of Miami Beach United. That was lovely. I served on that board for about a year. I also have been on not one but 2 city committees. I served on the Committee for Quality Education, and I also served on the Commission for Women, and I was appointed by the late Commissioner Mark Samuelin, may he rest in peace. And I also took the Miami Beach Police Department Citizens Police Academy, which I graduated in 2018. That was a big deal for me too. It was wonderful to see the ins and outs of the police. So I'm running, and also, I'm also a former aide. I worked for 2 different commissioners, and I loved every minute of it. It was my job, and I loved it. And again, that's why I'm running. I want to do more. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Matthew Goltanoff, and I'm running for Miami Beach City Commissioner in Group 1. And I'm running because our city deserves real solutions, not more promises. I began my career in software development. I worked in the aviation and the nonprofit industries. That background taught me to approach challenges with data and to deliver pragmatic solutions. Just as important, I've proven my civic leadership. I've chaired the city's Transportation Advisory Committee. I've served on the city's planning board, and I'm currently the vice chair of Miami-Dade County's Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. I'm running with a clear mission to deliver practical solutions to the transportation and housing challenges that affect every resident, business, and visitor to the city, while ensuring a fair and transparent city hall that treats everyone fairly. I also believe that we need stronger community engagement. Too often, residents feel neighborhood groups don't reflect their voices. As commissioner, I'll champion standards and best practices so these groups truly serve everyone, not just a select few. When I moved here nearly 15 years ago, Miami Beach was a vibrant and unafraid to innovate. In recent years, it has become the city of no, and losing residents and opportunities to other neighborhoods like Wynwood, Brickell, and Coconut Grove. For Miami Beach's long-term prosperity, that must change. Miami Beach needs a commissioner who understands both urban planning and genuine community representation. And that's what I bring to the table. Together we can respect our historic character and also embrace growth, opportunity, and innovation. So I ask that you support me and vote for me in November for Group 1. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monique Pardo Pope, and I am honored and privileged to be here this evening with you today as I ask for your vote as Group 1 Commissioner candidate in Miami Beach. I'm going to start with a bit of background about myself. 1963, my mother came from Cuba on Operation Pedro Pan. She came as a little girl with a very small suitcase and a very big dream and hope for a better life. She raised me as a single mother, and she raised me to believe that with determination and grit, anything is possible, regardless of the challenges we faced growing up. I used that drive that she instilled in me to push me through college and later on in law school. In my professional life, I began my career in the financial sector, and I then followed that up with a career as a family law practitioner and an advocate as a guardian ad litem in a family court system. Today, my day job involves serving as an advocate for those who cannot serve on their own, who need somebody to represent their voice when they no longer have one. That work has taught me not only to listen, but it's taught me to solve problems with common sense solutions and how to fight for those who need a voice when they so desperately don't have a way to share it with others. I am running to serve Miami Beach because I believe Miami Beach needs that same type of advocacy. Someone who will stand with working families, seniors, and neighbors who feel ignored, who feel unheard, and in worst cases feel unsafe. As a parent and PTA president, as a property owner, as a Mid-Beach business owner, as a neighborhood association board member, I know firsthand the challenges we are facing here, particularly in South Beach. From traffic congestion, to flooding, to homelessness, to the daily strains of noise, congestion, and crime. These are not abstract problems. These are our lived reality. I believe our future depends on balancing growth with preservation, protecting our environment and historic character, ensuring that locals can afford to live here and businesses can afford to thrive here. We are an economy built on tourism. We know it, it's vital to our local economy. However, we must have protections built in place. We must set boundaries. Oh my goodness. Well, okay, thank you very much and I appreciate your time.
Hi, I'm Brian Ehrlich. It's really a pleasure to be here. I also am a neighbor. I live a few blocks down the way in Belle Isle, but I frequent Bondi Sushi, thank you guys, Bacalao, and other fantastic retail destinations here. I've lived in Miami Beach for 20 years, and it's really the place that embraced me as a young man. It's allowed me to build business and to have a life filled with connection and with community. But I do think a lot of times here we tend to look in the short run and we don't really make good decisions that serve us in the long run. I am running because I want to be able to wake up, not just in 2025, but in 2040, I want us to be able to wake up and say that we can go seamlessly along West Avenue from one causeway to another causeway, that we've got thriving businesses with residents using those businesses and street life that extends out to the, to the sidewalks, and that we have, the beach walk. The Bay Walk will actually have been completed. These things are not abstract. They are things that are so important to us. They connect each of us to different parts of the city, and it should be a much, much easier place, in my view, to navigate. I'm not from politics. This is very new for me, but I have been serving on a bunch of boards in the city. But on the Historic Preservation Board, I've served on the board of the Bass Museum of Art. I've served on the Capital Improvements Board, the Cultural Arts Council, and the Board of Adjustment. In my professional life, I helped launch a tech startup. I've led major real estate projects. I've also helped guide arts organizations in Miami Beach. I bring life experience to this role, and there are 4 things I'm fighting for. I'm also a fighter. Number 1, a well-designed city. Number 2, infrastructure you can see and feel. Number 3, accountability at City Hall. And 4, growth that works for us.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Whatever makes you comfortable.
Hi everyone, Daniel Seraldo. I know so many of you here. I grew up in Miami Beach, just down the road on Sunset Island. I remember when you could drive down West Avenue and see the cruise ships passing by at South Point. So that's how long I've been around. But what drove me into running for office is that we are in a zoning crisis right now. The state of Florida has taken away many of our rights through Live Local, which could really impact West Avenue, as well as unsafe structures, and another bill, SB 180. Unfortunately, the city has not taken legal action to fight this Tallahassee takeover. So I decided back in February to look into running for office to really raise awareness to this issue. I want to give an example to people living on West Avenue. there could be a wall of high-rises on Alton Road blocking all of your views. And so we all know that property ownership is something that really is important to any American. And the fact that the state is trying to strip those rights away from us is really outrageous. And so my hope, as the first candidate who signed up in the group, and I'm happy now there's 6 other good people to pick from. But my focus is going to be on raising awareness to the zoning crisis we're in. I've been in Tallahassee. I've been fighting this through my work at the Miami Design Preservation League, which I led for the last 8 years. And there was a lot of zoning issues within our historic districts, including a Clevelander that wants to have a 50-story tower. But it's all connected because guess what? They said, well, they did it at 5th and Alton, West Avenue, so now we could do it on Ocean Drive. So we all need to work together more closely with all these new groups and make sure we protect our quality of life. My dream is I could drive down West Avenue with a coffee and not have it spill all over me every morning. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roman Jimenez, and I'm your community candidate in Group 1. I actually was the only candidate that announced my candidacy during the special commission meeting on June 27th to approve the DeVille project and 1250 West Ave project, because I believe that we got an absolute horrible deal. We could have done so much better. That's why I stood up right beside the developer and I let them know what was on my mind. Apart from that, I'm a 20-year veteran in tourism and hospitality here in South Beach. My family own a restaurant here called Bella Cuba, just on Washington and Lincoln, where we held our launch last night for South Beach. I was also the founder of the first sustainable neighborhood association in North Beach called the Parkview Island Sustainable Association, and it's Miami Beach's first sustainably named and focused neighborhood association in its history to focus on quality of life and environmental sustainability. Through that, we've already worked together with the city, many of the commissioners and city departments over the last 5 years, to bring over $8 million in direct community benefits to our city and our community. So my four priorities as a candidate are tourism and hospitality as a small business owner of our city, sewer and stormwater because our beaches and our waterways are full of bacteria, infrastructure and sensible development, responsible development, because obviously I believe that we can get the money, instead of bonding these projects, get them from developments and from developers instead of reaching into residents' back pockets every single time. And I also believe that transport and mobility is very, very important in Miami Beach, because one of the main complaints that I get along the campaign trail is that the trolleys are horrible, they're old, they're dirty, bad customer service, inefficient routes, and we also get a lot of complaints about the freebies because they take up to an hour and 20 minutes to pick people up most of the time. So we should be looking, thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Ava. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful to see so many people who actually want to make Miami Beach a better place. A little bit about me: I was born and raised in Miami Beach. I studied engineering in college, specifically systems engineering, so that's ensuring that systems are operating efficiently. I worked in finance afterwards, and now I'm in real estate, so I'm kind of all over the place, but I have a large wealth of knowledge. And I think the biggest thing about me that you should know is that any problem, I approach it with such creativity, and I'm always here for doing like what you said about the developers funding different initiatives throughout Miami Beach so that the costs aren't offset onto residents. What you said about fixing the potholes so that you can drive down the street and not have your coffee flying all over the place. I literally drive in my car and I'm avoiding potholes and I'm like, wait, am I about to hit someone in the lane next to me? It's crazy. And I see so many problems all the time in Miami Beach, and I've always thought, oh yeah, someone's fixing it, someone's fixing it, someone's fixing it, and no one ever fixes it. So that's really what inspired me to run for commission, and my goal is simply to make Miami Beach a place that locals are proud of that visitors are writing home about, being like, this is the best place ever, and that future generations are thanking us for. Thank you so much for making Miami Beach the best city in the world. So yeah, that's me, Ava.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to begin with prepared questions that we sent to the candidates beforehand. Ava, I apologize for the mix-up with the email there, but we'll get that straightened out. So we're going to begin with group 3. There's going to be one question for each group. And so we'll begin with group 3. That is Commissioner Fernandez. And so Bob will read the question, and then you'll have 2 minutes to answer.
So your question, Alex, or Commissioner Fernandez?
Alex is just fine.
What are your solutions to manage our current neighborhood traffic bottlenecks and traffic light synchronization issues? So let me give you some background. We have seen that the limits of what can be done with the traffic bottlenecks and the optimization of traffic lights at 15th and Alton and 16th and Alton. Development of police high-frequency bus pilot project on the Julia Tuttle with an average of only 4 people per bus. We understand that more concepts are being considered, like an employee bus shuttle and a water taxi, but none of these solutions will represent a high-volume game changer. At the end of the day, the volume of traffic is still the same or growing and is affecting all directly or indirectly. The consequences of traffic issues go deep. Some of the failings of our retail and restaurant businesses, including Lincoln Road, are strongly affected by the issue. Why take a chance to come to South Beach if traffic is most likely going to be an issue? So again, the question, what are your solutions to manage our current neighborhood traffic bottlenecks and traffic light synchronization problems?
Well, people wouldn't have to come to Miami Beach if they lived in Miami Beach. That is perhaps one of the greatest challenges that our community faces. We see an exodus of people leaving our city because they can no longer afford to live in our city. And the reality is that we could automatically fix this by working with the state on short-term rentals. In fact, Commissioner Magazine brought an item that I joined him in sponsoring this past city commission meeting to see how can we actually work with our state legislators. We have 5,000 licensed short-term rental units in our city that are being taken away from our workforce. They're taking opportunities away from our residents. And if we regained our authority to be able to convert those units out of transiency and back into opportunities for our workforce, we would see a totally different situation when it comes in our traffic. And that's where we also don't really need Live Local. I mean, when you look at Live Local, the goal of Live Local is to create affordability in housing. Well, without creating more concrete, we can address the issue of affordability in housing by addressing short-term rentals, and we will need to see our nurses, our teachers, our City Hall employees, the employees at the Fontainebleau and the Lowe's and Mount Sinai having to come to Miami Beach in their cars. Now, separately from that, the other way that we need to address this is not aggravating the current traffic situation that we have. We have failing levels of service on areas like Alton Road and 5th and 6th Street. So a couple of years ago, there was a developer that came forward that, just quickly, there was a developer that came forward that wanted to build more over by Alton Road and 6th Street. And we held firm and we said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not going to move forward this project. The project didn't move forward because when you look at the level of service, the level of service is failing. So number one is creating more opportunities for housing in our city, and we can do that without building more. But number two is by holding the line and making sure we don't aggravate by adding more density in those areas where our roadways are already proving to be failing. I hope that answers your question.
Now we'll move to Group 2, and we have a question for Group 2. Robert?
This is for Laura Dominguez and Robert Novo. What solutions do you have to improve our current city's approach to larger infrastructure projects? West Avenue Phase 2 and Phase 3, and Baywalk completion, while involving neighborhood and alerting residents when there are any issues. How do you suggest we set up rules now and enforcement for the Baywalk and the pocket park streets at the end of 5th, 10th, 14th, and Lincoln Road?
Do you want to go in order? Go ahead.
So our infrastructure projects like West Avenue Phase 2 and 3 and the Baywalk are crucial for resiliency and mobility. Now, I propose an infrastructure transparency portal where our residents can see on real-time government contract updates, timelines, and budgets on these development projects. I would also advocate for our developers to have monthly meetings with our residents so they would know before construction and during construction and make sure their voices are being heard. In regards to the Baywalk, there should be signs, there should be lighting, enforcement, because that Baywalk is designed to enhance public safety, not create more issues. So when it comes to residents being informed, the transparency portal, as well as more meetings between the residents and our developers to make sure our residents' voices are being heard.
Thank you. And first, as a University of Miami grad, I can't help myself in looking at your cap saying, "Go Canes." So about 2 years ago, I made a committee that was ad hoc into a permanent committee, and that was the Neighborhood Resiliency Projects Committee. And the reason why that committee came to be was because there was so much missing communication between the neighborhood associations and the residents when it came to large infrastructure projects. They've been heavily involved in doing walkthroughs and meeting with the construction workers for this West Avenue project, which right now we're in phase 2, doing segment 2 and 3 at the same time. And they have brought significant improvements that we're piloting over the next couple weeks. You're gonna start seeing a bi-weekly newsletter with information. We already have a dedicated website within miamibeachfl.gov. So if you pull up West Avenue enhancements, you'll see all of the details there. On social media, they'll be sharing videos about the project so that you can see how things are going as they go along. In addition, we're also bringing text alerts, and that came from feedback from neighborhood associations and the Neighborhood Resiliency Project as well. And there's going to be new project signage, so people are more clear of what exactly is happening in each of those intersections. And then lastly, there's going to be office hours, so the CIP department will have dedicated folks that are going to be working to answer the neighborhood's questions on the different segments and what's going on a particular street. Now, when it comes to the Baywalk, that's something that's been very exciting. Right now it's segmented, it's not completed together. The SoBe West team has really worked hard with me to spearhead making the connections, and the city has made progress by getting easements signed by the different buildings so that we can move forward. It's very exciting, and I'll lastly answer the question specifically. As far as enforcement, I've had multiple meetings with the chief of police. Initially, we thought maybe park rangers would be best, but the best approach, and this was discussed at the last Public Safety and Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee, is to reorient police officers so that it's part of their route. So you'll be seeing that as the Baywalk gets completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That leads into our next question quite nicely for candidates in Group 1. And so, Robert, will you?
Sure. So this is for Daniel, Brian, Matthew, Omar, Monica, and Monique. Oh, there you go. And Dave, yes, sorry. How can we get the best value from police engagement, presence in our neighborhood, and enforcement? Some background. We provide a lot of resources, but appear we don't get a lot out of it. What are your solutions to the following resident concerns? A, regular police presence, ideally on foot while managing police resistance, and MVPD union pushback. B, how to help MVPD better manage homeless, especially the violent mental health homeless and refusals from shelters to take them. C, excessive car, motorbike noise violations. Example at 5th and MacArthur Bridge. And enforcement. And D, better traffic management. Example at 15th and Alton, 16th and Alton, and speeding enforcement. That's a mouthful. So,
We'll start with Monica.
yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is a very complicated question because there's a lot of moving parts, but I'm happy to tackle it. So number one, in regards to the police, let me just say again that, my dad is a retired prosecuting attorney, so I grew up with a deep understanding of police, and I've always been very pro-police, pro law and order. So, I'm not going to sit here and bash the police because I have a lot of respect for them. Secondly, I took the Citizens Police Academy in 2018, and so I got a bird's eye view. I mean, they really teach you every single week. It's a 12-week course, and they teach you every aspect of the police department. There was a homicide unit came in, and then the drug dogs and everybody, and so you really learn about what they do. Now, having said that, I will answer the question directly. I think there's two parts to this. The first one is about relationships. Okay, I'm not running to be the biggest bully. I'm not running to be, I believe in encouraging our police force, encouraging our chief, and saying, hey, this is what we need, respectfully, and let's come to a compromise how we can get this done. Secondly, I would speak to the chief about shifting police schedules. And it's not my, privy, it's not the commissioner's privy to, criticize staffing or to change staffing. But again, when it comes to the needs of a neighborhood and what they need, I think it's fair to say, can we shift the schedules or shift the police or maybe add additional officers? They have robust crime data on their website, on the Miami Beach PD website. So let's look at the crime data and see where the crime is not occurring, and maybe shift again, I don't want to get into the weeds because that's not what a commissioner does. I trust that the chief of police will be able to do that. But I think out of respect and decorum, and I have that respect and decorum, and I have that temperament to be able to sit down with all of our chief of police and the assistant chief and the deputy chief and say, this is what SoBe West needs, and let's discuss shifting the staff. In regards to the homeless, briefly, so being homeless is not a crime, as we all know this. You can be you can be homeless. I do believe in, the police, we have so many services. We have our homeless outreach team, and we also have the police homeless outreach team. And I have some ideas that I've run out of time, including a better database of knowing exactly who is where at all times. Can we track that? Do we know that this guy, Joe, he takes medicines for schizophrenia, and now Joe is in North Beach, and let's get Joe his... I'm sorry. Yeah, you happen to be right there, so I was like, Joe, bad name. Bad name. So how well do we actually, compassionately and respectfully track our homeless so we can know who's off their meds, how to properly service them, how to get them the help that they need. And I have a couple more ideas, but I don't want to take up everyone's time. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
We're just going to repeat the question.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So how can we get the best value from police engagement, presence in our neighborhood, and enforcement?
Okay, so the city's budget is almost $1 billion. Of that, about 450 million or so. I know the finance chair is staring me down. Hope I get these numbers right. About $450 million of that is the general fund. That funds things that we depend on as residents, like our police, our public works, our parks and rec, and the other really important vital city services. Of that 450 million, over 60% is for public safety. So this city invests a lot of money in public safety. That's the police and the fire. And in return, we get great service. We're one of the safest cities in Florida, and probably one of the safest cities if you were to factor in our daytime population, all the tourists, all the visitors that come here. If you were to actually analyze the crime based on that and not just the 80,000 or so residents of the city, I think you would see the truth that we're very safe. We can always do better, I agree. with that. And that means getting police out of their cars. I know that the mayor has talked about that for a while, and the mayor even has difficulty with that. Getting them out of the cars. Removing the limo tints from their cars. You don't know if there's a police officer in there. If you're in an emergency and you see a police car parked, you expect there to be someone in there. You knock on that window, there could be someone, there could not be someone. What if you're being chased by a bad guy and you come to a car that's not occupied? So we got to get the tints off as well. Lastly, biking and walking is vital in urban areas, and we need to see more of that. I don't think anyone here is afraid to say that, hey, if our streets are dirty, we need to get sanitation out there to clean. So if we have issues with police and their schedules, we should ask them. They're being paid. They're valued. We all respect them just like we respect people who are emptying our trash. So let's get them out of the cars when we can, and let's bike our streets and let's walk our streets. I think that is vital to seeing more. Traffic management, I think we can do better than policing. And can I just have 20 more seconds like everyone else? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Look, noise, the first neighborhood association meeting I attended was SoFNA of 2016, and people were complaining about Lamborghinis waking them up at night. Post-2020, when our restaurants were booming south of 5th, my kids would get waken up at night by people in their speeding cars and their loud mufflers. I think we can do better, and we really should help solve these things, get equipment checks, and take care of the loud cars. And
thank you.
The rest of it is what it is. Thank you.
So I agree with you, Matthew. We need to get police out of our car and on the streets walking, but we need to also take into consideration there are 425 police officers, 50 reserves, and we have over 200 event weekends in Miami Beach. We have an enormous budget dedicated to public service and to policing our streets. We have to also give them the support and the resources that they need so that they can feel emboldened to do their job. That also means incorporating county and statewide partnerships. There is funding to be had. I'm not saying Miami Beach should pay for all of these extra police officers that we need, nor do I suggest that we become a police state. However, we need to address the mental health issues that are not only facing our police department, but the homeless that are on the street that they are trying to manage. That is a humongous, humongous issue. In addition, we have laws in the books. They need to be enforced. Let's build our relationship with State Attorney Rundle's office. The prosecutors that are in her office right now make a smidgen of salary. Why are we not having the conversations? I know what public defenders are making. I know what the state prosecutors are making. And it's nothing because everybody wants those jobs because it leads to better jobs in the future. Now, if we have the opportunity to enforce the arrest, then I think we can get some of this crime off of our street that we are so upset about all of the time. I think we have to deal with growing our force so we can address petty crime, the bicycle gangs that are up and down our streets, the organized bicycle gangs that are on our street, violent crime, which there is. I live in Mid-Beach. There is crime, vehicular crime, particularly in our neighborhood in Mid-Beach that we do have to address. Captain Sanchez is doing an amazing job. Chief Wayne is excellent. We have to give them the resources that they need so they can do their job fully. And that is so important, particularly with mental health. They need the services. They need to feel that we are on the front lines right next to them, that we are proud of our blue, and that we support them through and through. With regards to homelessness, we spend right now we spend more per person on 200 homelessness than we do on our teachers right here in Miami Beach. That is a huge problem. It is also inhumane to see homeless on the streets and allow them to sing wildly and act in a way that we know is not fair to them. We have to ensure that they have the proper methods of getting off the street. And I'm not saying that we have to employ a bit of tough love. Otherwise, we're going to continue hitting our heads against the wall, trying to figure out solutions and how to address a homelessness issue, which, as we know, is a very complicated one, but we must leverage our relationships with the state. That is why we have partners in the State House, in the State Senate, in our county. Let's leverage the funds that we are not bringing those dollars into our municipal government to help fix these issues. Thank you.
I think I'm okay. I mean, basically, in my mind, we pay some of the highest taxes in South Florida, and we're not getting a good return on that investment. That's the way I boil it down to. In my mind, that's a management issue. That means that as a commissioner, we need to be able to guide the resources in the right way. We've talked a little bit about presence. I'll echo some of the points, but let's not repeat too much. We do need officers that are actually walking along West Avenue and riding bikes along West Avenue, because that human dimension makes a big difference, right? Like, we all know that when somebody's inside of a car, and like you said, there's tint and whatnot, there is, the presence does not build the trust, right? We need to think about nighttime events at local restaurants. We need to invite our officers. Maybe you guys do this and I'm just unaware, but we need to invite our officers to eat with us, to be with us, to understand what it is like to live in this neighborhood and to see the problems in real time. Homelessness, we've touched on. Miami Beach PD can't do this alone. We've got to be compassionate, we know that, but we've also got to connect up with other service providers. I know we have someone here that runs an organization that works with the homeless, and we need to build crisis response teams. We need to be a bridge also to the homeless trust. There have been some issues with this organization and our relationship with this organization. It's way too long to get into right now. But we've got to have a commissioner that knows how to extract money from them, because we sure as hell put more money into the coffers than what we receive. And noise and traffic. I think this goes back to management. It goes back to accountability. We need the right enforcement. We know that you guys mentioned 5th and MacArthur is a big problem. Last night I was knocking on a guy's door and he told me he cannot sleep, similar story. So we have to have a culture of excellence, and we can't tolerate not excellence. And then I would just say we need the dashboards. I think we've talked a little bit about that with accountability. Residents should be able to see wherever there is a patrol. They should be able to see how many violations are cited, whether response times are improving in real time, whether they're going up, whether they're going down. We should be able to see that all on one dashboard like you would see in the private sector. I worked and launched a tech startup. I did this over 12 different markets, and I employed a results-based approach like the one that I just described. So that is why I think that I'm qualified.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
No, that's okay. So with the police, first of all, one of the unique things I was able to do at my position at MTPL was run the annual Art Deco Weekend Festival. Hopefully many of you have been there on Ocean Drive. And there's about 300 folks involved in the implementation of that, including a lot of the police. And one of the fun things, actually Matthew works on that festival as well. One of the fun things is always going to their central command, where they have about 100 little monitors, and you have every inch of Lummis Park laid out there. And I mean, it's kind of shocking. The things you see on the Facebook crime group, they ain't got nothing on what's really happening in Lummis Park. But what I'm just realizing now is I don't think that these cameras are in West Avenue, and I feel like we do need to look into making sure that not just our tourism areas have these safety protections, but also where our residents live. So I'd like to look into our tourism reserves, which are about $40 million, looking at the finance chief right here. I believe that we need to not just sit on that money, but make sure that we look at every single neighborhood and ensure that even if you don't have hotels here per se, there are a couple like Mondrian, maybe we could use that as a reason to get more of the tourism resort revenue and have just as good of the crime work that we've been doing, starting with Mayor Gelber and moving on with Mayor Minor. There's really been a lot of improvements in crime in South Beach, but we got to make sure West Avenue is protected too. The other thing is we need to measure what is a perception. One person said, oh, it's totally safe. I think let's get data and let's have an idea of how do the residents of West Avenue feel, because perception is everything. If you don't feel safe, we need to do a better job. Traffic is another issue that's always going to be a problem. I do think the Baylink, unfortunately, is probably coming. I know a lot of folks have been against it, but somewhat out of our hands. But hopefully we can make sure it comes in a way that will not impact West Avenue quality of life.
Thank you, Danny.
Yes. How can we get the best value from police engagement, presence in our neighborhood, and enforcement?
So, as a local business owner here for 20 years, when I first started living and operating a business in South Beach on Washington Avenue, it was a very different place. We had families, we had students, international crowds, all throughout the year. You could literally walk down Washington Avenue, bump into movie stars, like rub shoulders with celebrities on different blocks. Now you're rubbing shoulders with homeless people, mentally unstable people that are attacking our residents, and that are making it very difficult for people to live in South Beach and do business in South Beach. And we have a very large budget in this city, over $1 billion, I believe, or close to $1 billion. And about 50–60% of our budget goes towards policing, fire rescue, and municipal staffing. We have over 1,000 municipal staff here in this city. We definitely need to wake up because we have a lot of competition in other cities. Brickell, Wynwood, Hollywood even has become safer than Miami Beach. And all of our legacy businesses and small businesses in Miami Beach are now closing and moving to other destinations. When I walked with Transit Miami at midnight with Brian and Matthew around South Beach the other night, Daniel and Matthew, I was scared. We had homeless people coming up to us asking us for money, for all kinds of things. They were, not in a decent looking situation. We really got to stop that. We're a $1 billion city. Our bread and butter is tourism and hospitality. We are not some little town that we can afford to be doing these things. And I believe that our police resources should be used much better, especially when it comes to community policing. Because last November, I had a situation when I was walking with my dog when I came home from work at 8 p.m. And a crazy police officer came up to me and tried to criminalize me and a neighbor because we were in a park after 8 p.m., after sunset. Why do we move to Miami Beach? Why are we living here? We might as well be living in Miami Shores if we're not allowed to be outdoors after 8 p.m. We really got to make a change.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Ava. I'm actually quite grateful that you didn't send me the questions in advance because now I feel like I get to answer all of them. So I'm going to go really quickly down the list. Traffic. I think that traffic is not just amongst visitors, I think it's also locals. A lot of people that live here are driving because it's impossible to walk. We know it's too hot to walk. And why? Because our walking areas are in blazing hot sun. And you know what's a really cheap fix and actually probably really good for our environment? More trees. Awesome. So that's that on traffic. Okay, neighborhood projects. The projects are pretty, but they're not functional. I was recently on a gorgeous day at the park that just got built in Sunset Harbor. Have you guys all been there? Yeah. Okay. Every single bench is in the sun. There's not a single tree above the benches. And I'm like, okay, it's really pretty, but it's not functional. And we need people that are gonna look at the project. I think we spent, how much, 40 million on that park? 60?
No, on Sunset, yes.
Okay, $40 million. And the people aren't looking to see if people in Miami, South Florida, very close to the equator, have sitting areas in the shade? Crazy. Okay, police engagement. We have 2 buildings, 5 Park, down there, on 1250 West, that recently just got height increases. Do you know how much money they get in profit from those height increases? Not just 2 million. It's like hundreds of millions of dollars that Miami Beach is handing to them on silver platters. That's a lot of love on a silver platter. So they should be giving love back to us. Why should our police force be dedicated to walking these streets when those 2 buildings that just got so much love from Miami Beach, why don't they supply security to walk back and forth down West Avenue? They should. Just because they love Miami Beach, they love the money that we give them, so why not show the love back to the community? Okay. Homeowners, we're paying more in property taxes than big corporate landlords. You can see it from Bella Isla. They're paying $1.5 million in property tax per year, but if you sold each of those units individually, not rented them out, they would collectively be paying so much more in property taxes. Okay, businesses closing. There's permitting process. It's impossible to open a new business in Miami Beach. Homelessness. I was on Lincoln Road the other day, and I literally had to call the police because a man was just, okay, well, everyone else got extra time and I never took mine. So that homeless guy had a knife in his hand staring at me. And I was Beach locals and support local artists. Okay, last thing. I think that we should take inspiration, honestly, from Design District. Design District, if you guys all know, I've lived here for forever. Design District back in the day was garbage, and everyone thought that Craig Robbins was out of his mind when he was gonna make it amazing. And guess what? He made it amazing. There's trees, there's art, there's security. It's such a pleasure to walk around, and that's what we need in Miami Beach. We need to make Miami Beach a pleasure.
Thank you, Ava. In the interest of time, I hate to shortchange, a good discussion about the Live Local Act, but we're going to change the time to 1 minute. And if you have, if you want to address it more, you've got your minute closing, which you can utilize that time for. So we're going to start with 1 minute each on Live Local.
Well, let me give a question.
You ask a question.
Okay, Tallahassee has taken control of development guidelines from local city authorities that could significantly impact our neighborhood. Candidates, if any of you have any innovative strategies on how to implement or manage what's coming, please raise your hands. And we'll have your answer.
We'll give everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Me?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, so Live Local is something that I've been following very closely for a number of years. We've been in Tallahassee on the issue of Live Local. I think the important thing to know about Live Local is the rights that we actually do have. We know the rights that Tallahassee has taken away from us, but we do have rights, and we've tried to memorialize those rights. In fact, I had an informational item on our City Commission agenda today, or this past week, memorializing some of this understanding. The most important thing is that Live Local does not create the presumption that you have these projects authorized. These projects need to be reviewed and they need to be vetted by our city administration. And that's a big change. Before it would be public hearings, before boards, now it's an administrative review. So it's that understanding. Number two, in that administrative review, the project needs to comply with our comprehensive plan. If it doesn't comply with our comprehensive plan, that means that it doesn't, just 20 seconds. It means that it doesn't qualify to be reviewed administratively, then it could go back to a public hearing. Also, it needs to meet capacity. If there's not sufficient infrastructure capacity in our city, they're not entitled to be able to go through that process. And so we have rights as a city that we need to know. And the key thing is that we need to review each one of these applications very thoroughly. We can't be pushed into a corner and have Live Local used as blackmail against us as a city. And we need to ultimately be able to hold the line and review them and just not say, okay, you're entitled to Live Local, because we do have rights as a city, and it does not create a presumption that you're going to be entitled to 150% of FAR or the maximum height in the area. It's a very technical issue, and it's hard to bring it down to 1 minute.
Thank you.
But thank you for the extra time.
If anyone needs the question repeated, please let us know beforehand. Robert?
So my strategy is to work with our league and our planning department, because as Commissioner Fernandez said, there are certain rights that we have to combat the Live Local. I believe in transparency as well. Our government contracts with developers should be clear and upfront, because my main focus is historic preservation, replacing and preserving parking spaces. So these are things that we are not aware if it might affect us or not in the future, but working with our legal and planning department and see what we can't do is a big step. And I will also lobby to gain control back, because this is our city. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner?
So this is a terrible law, and it takes away the home rule, and it's not right because the way that they've laid it out, it's one size fits all regardless of the city. So what we need to do is effectively work with our lobbyists and other cities that are similar to us that are effective and band together as we lobby Tallahassee. It's not right what's happening. We need to use all resources we can to fight this. Committees start, I think at the end of this month, maybe October. that's the first step. And second is session starts next year. So right now, working to effectively work our strategy. Another thing is to work with our state representatives, not just the one that cover here, but the other ones that are in the vicinity, as many state representatives as we can connect with, so that they can hear our voice, tour our city, and make the amendments that are going to be fair to Miami Beach.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So I have some ideas too. Again, I'd like to work with the city administration and the attorneys. One concern that I have with Live Local is how many people can we actually have? I mean, we've got 10 applications, Live Local applications that are already pending, so to speak. And what if there's a hurricane and we only have, so many bridges to get across people to safety to evacuate? So what if we took the aspect from a legal perspective of how many people can we actually have here at one time living here? If we have 10 different projects and maybe more coming, and then we increase our population, at what point does it become unsafe if we have to evacuate for a hurricane? And that's, I think, a serious concern that we can all have. And hopefully, I liked your idea about banding together. Maybe other coastal cities can band together and say, listen, that's scary. Can we get out if there is a hurricane and we only have so many days to evacuate? Additionally, I do think that it is about relationship building with the state and other legislators, and even with the governor. So that way we can think of some type of policy that works for our community as well as statewide.
Thank you, Monica.
Ooh, perfect timing.
Gold star.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Matthew?
So the intent of Live Local was to build more affordable and more attainable housing in our urban areas of Florida. And I said earlier that we became the city of no. And some people feel that Live Local was because Miami Beach stopped building housing for normal people to live here in this city. I would work together with our state partners to help massage this Live Local Act. There's already been 3 iterations. Let's make a 4th, where instead of it being 40% of the units and they all end up being little tiny studios, that maybe it's 20% and we get 2 and 3 bedroom rental units so that we can have families living here again. Let's take Live Local, let's make it into a positive. Not that you have to be the tallest building in the city. You can build housing that is attainable and that works for full-time residents that is 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. I think that Live Local can be a good tool if it is made in a way that reflects the realities of places like Miami Beach. And I think that we need more. Again, one of my tenets is more housing. Our city has lost significant population over the last 10 years, and that contributes to a lot of the other issues. So I think we work together on housing solutions, get more people living here, and that helps solve a lot of our issues.
Thank you, Matthew. Monique?
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, as you know, Live Local has gone through several iterations beginning in 2023, again in 2024, and now in 2025. However, there is a counterpart to Live Local that we must be able to leverage as a municipal government, and that is SB 180. SB 180 gives you the tools that you need, because people are going to say, oh, well, we should try to repeal Live Local. That is an enormous financial undertaking that I don't personally believe we should be investing our resources, our hard-earned dollars, in attempting to repeal when we already have tools built in at the state level. SB 180, what does it do? It provides us tools that we can implement the right way. Those tools, objective standards can be employed. We can actually pause large projects if they don't coincide with what we want. I believe the Historical Preservation Board has still the authority to determine that. We can require structural repairs to take place before a shovel goes in the ground. We can demand partnerships. We can come as close to a moratorium, and everybody hates that word. Growth needs to pay for growth. We also need to have stronger enforcement of our infrastructure capacity. And finally, we need to bind public and private partnerships. We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater and lose our minds because we don't like Live Local. It's here, and it might not be going anywhere for the foreseeable future. Build the partnerships in the State House with your state senators, who you have, and it doesn't have to be the one that we have right now necessarily, but we have to be able to leverage relationships. That's so very important. And also, being an attorney, I will plug this. I understand statute, I understand legislation, I understand how to repeal bad legislation, but I also know how to find the loopholes in good legislation and how to effectively maneuver it in our benefit. Thank you.
Brian?
Look, I think that what makes us extraordinary in Miami Beach is our architecture, is our scale, our history, the buildings that we have that are unparalleled in any other place in the world. And the preservation movement did this in the Art Deco district. They defended their character, right? So yes, this policy is a bit one size fits all, whatever it's called. And every community is different. So we have to do, I think as commissioner, we have to make sure that even if we don't control everything, we can shape things. And here are the things that we can shape. Number one, we can fight for more local authority. That's right. We can work with the state to restore city control over a host of issues that a lot of my colleagues here just mentioned. And number two, we have a lot of leverage. Here's the leverage that we have. We have permits, we have inspections, we have enforcement, and in exchange for those things, we can demand public benefits. That means things like the Baywalk. That means the infrastructure that we're talking about earlier. We could even have community benefit districts. We can also raise our own standards, we just talked about. So the new buildings respect a neighborhood context. Paris and Barcelona did this with design overlays over certain areas. We can do the very same thing here, and Monique just brought up really, really good legal backing for that with that SB 180. And we can also require community input so that we can help shape these projects and shape capacity, traffic, egress, operations, all that other good stuff. Lastly, transparency. We need a dashboard so you can see when this is going on, how fast it's going, what the disruptions are, and the progress.
Can I ask a question to the two that just spoke? Just a clarifying question, because I'm a little confused. And I think it's okay to be confused. Can we actually force them, like what you were saying, the SB 180, and then what you were saying about the preservation of historic.
I was going to touch on that next. So maybe.
Can we actually enforce it, or is it like
there
a
is
hope
language
to
for
enforce it?
preservation of architectural design that we were able to build into the law when it was worked on this year, and also there's also language about replication. We are limited as it relates to public input unless they don't meet the standards for live local. Then we can send it back to public hearings for public input.
They basically cut out the boards, but then it goes to the city administration.
I'm sorry, I gotta hijack this back.
The hijack was fun.
I'll touch on that too. It's a great question, Ava. Thank you. So, even though I left MDP, I'll just be very clear with the election and not to overlap my role. I did get calls during the legislative session from both our Republican state rep and our Democrat senator. And both of them had the same question. Daniel, are you guys good with this language with live local? Because due to, in part, Alex, thank you for your work, there was a lot of press out there about people against the Clevelander 50-story, etc. So they drafted something kind of like overnight. We looked at it really quick. We said, oh yeah, at least you could preserve the facade. But let me make no mistake, Live Local is awful. It needs to go. I'm running to stop Live Local. And SB 180, by the way, is just as bad, if not worse. And we as Miami Beach have not even joined all these other counties across the state to legally challenge it. If you Google SB 180 legal challenge, you'll see other folks around the state challenging it. We got to step up, guys, right now, or else we're going to be in big trouble.
Thank you, Daniel. Omar?
Well, one of the big reasons why the state is pushing Live Local on municipalities like Miami Beach is because we forgot about affordable housing. We have an affordable housing crisis in this city. And so if we keep building luxury developments and keep giving developers hundreds of millions of dollars of profits that belong to our community and our back pockets, that's why we're being pushed this legislation right now. And our city is not fighting it, and our lobbyists are not fighting it because they're all part of this establishment. That's why I'm running, because I'm not backed by PACs, I'm not backed by lobbyists, I'm not backed by developers. I'm using my own money, and I'm going to defend the community, the residents, and our needs every single day. And I'm going to focus on affordable housing. I'm not going to focus on workforce housing, because we've seen with the Collins Park project what we end up with when we build workforce housing. A 400 square foot bedroom studio is now going for $2,500 a month. That's completely unacceptable because nobody wants to live in a jail cell. So, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think Live Local is a joke. It's a loophole for people to get extended height increases, basically at will, without having to go through the proper channels of city commission. So it's essentially just more money on the silver platter that the state is now giving to the big developers rather than our commission of Miami Beach. But what was I thinking? Oh yeah, so a few months ago, I was thinking about property taxes. And I was like, how crazy is it that anything that you own, my phone, my bag, my shoes, I don't have to pay an annual fee to own it, but then you're living in your house, you pay your utilities, you pay all these expenses, you maintain your own property, you pay your HOA, and then on top of it, you have to pay the state a fee. And it's not just a small fee. Like in Europe, it's a small fee. It's like a $300 reinstation fee. Here, it's a big fee. And I was like, that's not ownership. So what I did is I wrote a letter to Ron DeSantis, handwritten, and I mailed it to him. And 2 weeks after, he started talking about property taxes. This stuff that we're talking about here, that's a joke. Live Local is a joke. Why not all of us just write a letter? Write a letter and talk to the person who's actually in charge, our governor, and tell him, hey, you're messing with our city here.
Thank you, Ava. All right, we're going to conclude the candidate forum here with 1 minute for each candidate just to speak whatever they'd like to talk about for a closing statement. And we'll see if there's any questions after that. Any more questions? Okay. Alex?
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to be able to join you tonight, and it's been great to hear all the fellow candidates. We're working hard to make our city more resilient. We're seeing our infrastructure projects finally moving forward, but they were all too delayed. Projects that should have cost $40 million are costing us $90 and $100 million. And that tells us we need to act quicker as a city, and we need to learn from this. We need to continue working on traffic, and that means in a few months, we're going to have a new county commissioner for District 5 at Miami-Dade County. We need to build a strong partnership with that county commissioner to work on good public transportation and making sure that the relationship with Miami-Dade County is restored, not only for public transportation, for public safety, for addressing homelessness. We need to continue focusing on our water quality issues in Miami Beach. And we need to make sure that we are cutting red tape for our businesses. We need our corridors to succeed, to thrive, so we can have truly walkable communities. Because a walkable community is a community that supports our quality of life. I want to thank you for having given me the opportunity to serve you for the past 4 years. I'm always committed to fighting for a safer, a cleaner, a more resilient and beautiful Miami Beach. And I hope I can earn your vote this November 4th to continue serving you with accessibility and the respect that you deserve. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for coming in spite of the weather. If it wasn't for you, we'd be talking to ourselves up here. So I appreciate that. We need to heal and unite our city. We need to put our residents' their quality of life first. For my campaign, I will focus on stopping overdevelopment, prioritizing our infrastructure, things that impact us every day, the permitting process, supporting local businesses. It's one thing helping the business start, it's another thing maintaining the business. Our homelessness is one thing, taking them off the streets, it's another thing keeping them off the streets. So those are my beliefs, that's my platform, putting what we see, what we feel every day first. Thank you for this time, and I hope I've earned your vote. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Dominguez, Miami Beach Commissioner, and it has been an honor to be your commissioner for the past 3 years, and I hope to earn your vote in this election. It really means the world to me when I'm speaking with residents and different folks around the community that I'm able to make a difference. Working closely with Tom and Tim and SoBe West, I was able to make changes to the special magistrates process. What was happening was when the Bikini Hostel was open for business, they were getting away with doing violations without consequences. consequences. And getting accountability and making those changes has really helped. And now those people that are bad actors in Miami Beach are not getting away for scot-free. My priorities will remain the same. It's resiliency, public safety, and quality of life for the residents. Constituent services, #1 for me. And anything that I can do to help, please reach out to me, because I do have an open door policy. And I left my handout with my information, so you can get my phone number. It's my cell phone number. You can call me anytime.
Hi, everyone. So I've been a resident for 16 years, and I've loved every moment of living on Miami Beach. My first email that I sent to the city was 6 months after I moved here, where I said, why isn't there a stop sign on the corner of 11th and Jefferson? I can't cross the street. The cars are flying by. And from there, it's been a boomerang of helping people, getting involved in my community, serving as a leader. I've proven leadership experience, and I want to take it further, and I want to represent you at City Hall. I have the decorum, I have the professionalism, I have the knowledge, and I have the experience to do so, and I would love your vote on November 4th. Thank you very much.
So I want to thank SoBe West again for inviting me. I know there was a little snafu at the beginning, but it's been a pleasure to talk with all of you tonight about what's important to this city. My main priorities, again, are traffic, transportation, and housing. I'm a different kind of candidate. I'll give different answers than everyone else because I want to see real solutions, not promises that are made every single election. So go to my website, MatthewForMiamiBeach.com. You can learn more about this. You can get involved. And I ask that you vote for me on November 4th. Thank you.
A huge thanks to SoBe West for inviting us all to be here this evening. For those that haven't had the opportunity to meet me, I know tonight's an introduction. I'm going to give you my website so you can learn a little bit more about me, but I will leave you with this. My day job as a family law attorney and a guardian ad litem will speak volumes as to the type of commissioner I will be up on that dais. That dais needs one strong mama bear voice that's going to keep a tempered attitude. I deal with highly conflicting cases every single day. I have to make decisions on behalf of what's in the best interest of children, to take them out of their home, to pull them away from their families. And I have to do it under the most enormous amount of pressure. But I do it because I am a fiduciary to those children, and I am an advocate on their behalf. And that is what I want to be for Miami Beach. I want to serve with integrity, with honesty, with accountability, and with transparency. I know it is a very high learning curve, but I am up for this job. I am a serious candidate, a serious professional, and I want to work with you in partnership to make Miami Beach safer, smarter, and stronger together. Thank you very much.
I'm Brian Ehrlich. Thank you guys for being here on this rainy day. I started this campaign in April, actually. I was really upset because there was a hotel that was, the renovation was being proposed, and in my view, it was out of scale and out of context with my neighborhood on Belle Isle. And that is the moment in which I decided that I was going to run, because I'm a fighter. And I know what I believe. I believe that, one, we need a well-designed city. We need to stop one-off deals with developers. We need strong infrastructure. And infrastructure isn't just pipes and pavement, but it is the pipes and pavement that we need to fix over here too. It's also cultural infrastructure. It's our beaches as well. Number 3, we need accountability. We talked a lot about that today in a lot of these answers. And number 4, we need growth that works for us. As I said, we have seen a lot of one-off deals here. We need to build a place that is strategically done in a very, very smart way so we can attract the right business and we can attract the right residents to live here. Great cities don't happen by accident. They happen because we have the tenacity and the focus to do this, and we execute on that vision. I believe I have that vision.
Thank you, Brian.
So, Daniel Seraldo, and I'm so happy to hear already so many candidates agreeing that Live Local is a real issue, and we have to stop approving these one-off zoning exceptions, because that's really the reason I ran. I think we are in a zoning crisis right now, brought about by dark money interests, some of them who are funding different campaigns that we'll get into in the future, but they want to take control of our zoning to put residents off on the side and to literally destroy the city. We cannot let them. I know there's 7 great candidates. I believe I'm the most qualified to get into the top 2 because it will eventually go to a runoff. But you have my commitment. I will never vote for a project that is a special one-off exception. Why? I've worked with developers, property owners for 12 years. The people right next door, then they want the zoning. And it just is never-ending domino. And we can't leave it up to 7 nice people to do it. We need our laws protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Well, thank you for that, Daniel. As a past executive director of the NDPL, who also lobbied for special interests in the past, the choice may actually seem plentiful this year, but it really isn't, because I am the actual only community candidate here. Everybody else in Group 1 is involved with some kind of special interest or lobby or PAC, okay? So when they're telling you that they're going to change things at City Hall, they really are not going to be working for you. They're going to be working for the people that they are beholden to. It's very easy. You can check the financials and you can check the finances of all of the candidates in this group. So I ask you to do your due diligence and please check who you are going to be voting for this November 4th, because not everybody is on an equal platform and not everyone is going to be working for you. I'm the only true, real community candidate here who has already established himself as a community candidate and brought over $10 million in community benefits to the community.
Hi everyone, my name is Ava. I was born and raised in Miami Beach. I love Miami Beach. I want Miami Beach to be the best city ever. On my drive over here, I actually saw some floodwater tank exploding and water just flying everywhere. It was crazy. But stuff like that should not be happening. Our city is an amazing city. It's world class, and we need world class ideas and leadership. On the point of PACs, I was not invited to come here today, and it's because I didn't raise enough money. And the reason that I didn't raise enough money is not because I haven't wanted to raise, or it's not because people don't want to give me money, it's because I have not wanted to align myself with any special interest. I don't have a PAC behind me. I don't have bulleteras going to the old folks' homes, buying the boat, and hosting parties. I'm not doing any of that. My simple desire is to make Miami Beach the best city in the world.
It would be hard for me to believe that we missed a topic here tonight, because they did such an excellent job of bringing substance to us to listen to. I want to say,